Hello, Internet. I am Mikoy, and welcome to BLT 11, Smogon's Tangential Touring Experience. Now, for this first video on BLT 11, I am going to go through the format that was decided by the community plus the staff and talk about my own views, my own opinions, my own perspective, and talking about the manager signups that are going to be, well, managing the teams that will compete in this year's BLT. So we're looking forward to all that, and let's talk about that in depth in this video so that we have a precedent going forward in regards to what's happening in this tour. So we've had some discussions. Frixel initiated a thread that will inhibit all the points of discussion that will go through that will are going to go through in regards to this tour, like all the mechanics in the tour and whatnot, what kind of specifics that the tour will the tour is going to be, how the qualifying stages are going to be handled, etc., etc. So points of discussion include the format of the tour, typical format being OU, Ubers, there's OU, DOU monotype, the bog standard tiers that were present in last year's BLT. The point of qualifying, which was BLT 9 having 20 points compared to the usual 30, being a good change and whatnot. The qualifying cycles, it was a point of contention as well from 2 to 4. There was also discussion amongst the Discord community, although I'm not exactly in tune with that as much as I want to see Smogon threads. I'm more likely to check Smogon posts than Discord threads nowadays. Starting date, another point of contention, and other points of discussion that are meaningful to talk about. So, first of all, I noticed the poll here. When should Cycle 1 start? It is going to start in March 18th, so by the time I'm recording this video, Cycle 1 of BLT would have already been started, and hopefully that should be a fun little excursion for those who want to qual in Cycle 1. I voted personally April 1st because it's a nice round 2 months of prep time before the tour eventually starts. So April having 2 cycles and whatnot, and having the auction on April 1st, holding the auction on May 4th, and then beginning week 1 May 6th. That's a nice round like schedule. We're going to talk more about it. So a lot of people chimed in with their own respective opinions, and I appreciate everyone pitching together to formulate their own opinions on how BLT 11 should be handled this year as opposed to last year, couple of years. Um, I feel like last year's edition was probably the best, most well handled one, simply because after the tour we noticed that there is literally no drama. There's no drama between certain players. No one got banned. No one got seriously infracted. It was a very clean, very nice round BLT, and I feel like that should be the format going forward because there was not exactly real problems with the formats and all, and a lot of people chimed in. For example, Fragments and Poet chimed in with his usual stance. Gawain also giving his nice opinions. Zeru, Stareel, Velvet, and all players recognized and notable enough by the community to notice how the tour is going to be handled. Also, Hacker chimed in, Lime, Valor, OJR, Reginald. Okay. You can read this all. Of course, you can read this all in the description. I'm not going to go into too much of this individual opinions because everyone's got their own opinions, and we're all civil here. We would like to have a respectable conversation and discussion amongst the community, and I feel like this one was the best way to handle things. So, after all that discussion, Frixel ultimately gave his ultimatum, and this is how the format is going to go in specifically. The format of the tournament will be 2 OU, 1 Ubers, UU, RU, NU, PU, LC, DOU monotype. Same as last year. That should most likely stay until this generation ends, and once we get to Gen 10, it'll be a whole new discussion. But for now, I think this is the best way that BLT has been handled recently, even though I was one of the few people that oh no, it should be kept to only one format. Why is OU got to be two? Well, have you seen the player base in OU? OU pool is huge, especially with the ongoing tours that are happening in Smogon right now. OU deservedly needs to have two tiers because there ain't no way you're gonna put only just one OU player. You need to have two in a team in order to succeed. Well, not necessarily need to, but you just got to have two tiers that will specifically handle for each of your best OU players to handle the tier and do well in it. Hopefully. Points of qualifying, BLT cut off 20 points compared to the usual 30. It was a positive change. I was one of those sticklers. I was one of those negative people back then. Back in the day, I used to be, oh, there should be a specific number of people, a specific number of points, rather to be qualifying. And I didn't necessarily agree on it being lower each and every year because we need to keep the bar high. BLT is a much more revered tier, much more it's a tour specifically designed to be a higher player, higher rewards tier with much more permanent discussion. A lot of games need to be decided in much more high competitive formats, and so we need the best competitive level players and grinders in order to really show them prove their worth into qualifying for this specific tour because it's a prestigious tour. We need to have prestige here. So I that was my initial thought. And then as the years gone by and the player base just kept getting lower and lower, a lot of people started leaving tours because of a lot of people started dropping out of competitive dropping out of qualifying BLT because the points requirement was too high, so the player bar has been lowered. And I've come to fully accept that because 20 points, not a lot of people are gonna grind for 50 points. Not a lot of people are gonna grind for those higher threshold. If you're gonna give them a high bar, then that will immediately turn off people into qualifying for BLT. So I feel like 20 points is definitely the way to go. Personally, it would have been 25 just to be a nice round number, but 20 is a nice round number anyway, so that that argument isn't rendered moot. But hey, the qualification bar being set to 20 points for a single cycle, that's good. Hopefully, we can get more people. And the contingency from last year, we just had barely enough people to have 20 points and the cycle for the roster pool to be filled out enough, just enough uh, for the teams to be fully complete. Qualifying cycles are shortened to two, with only the top 16 in each in the guaranteed pool. Was this a good change? Yeah, two qualifying cycles. I think that is for the best. It is a little bit more because it's a pacing issue as well for BL2 because four cycles is too much. A lot of people are fully yanking at our skulls here. When I was staffing, people were very adamant that four cycles is too much. We need two. Two, I think, is a nice bar for people who want to wait for the qualifying stages to be over, just so we can get to the actual tour. Go, go, go! A lot of people are very impatient in doing that, and a lot of people are still impatient to this day. That hey, two cycles is too much. Two cycles is too much now. Two cycles, I think it's fairly enough. And with this, the upcoming cycle one starting in March, it will be great. It will be it will hopefully this will generate traction for a lot of people because it is also spring, so I think a lot of people. So it is end of winter into spring, so a lot of people hopefully should have more time now to qual. If a lot of people are have the time to qualify, I think two cycles would probably be the best time frame for those who want to do the actual thing. Just nice starting date. Nearly 70% voted for mid March, which is wrong by 2 days. Okay, yeah, it is supposed to be March 16th. Yeah, so it is the first qualifying cycle for will be March 16th. So mark your calendars, folks. By the time I'm recording this video, it will be literally in a few hours from now. Today is March 16th around here anyway. So it'll be after the last official for March 16th. So hopefully everyone's excited and hopefully everyone's marked their calendar. So everyone is going to participate there, which is gonna be great. Cycle 2 will start April 1st, and then auction will happen between the end of April, with week 1 going by May. So good. Well, end of April going into May. And of course, manager assignments, which we will be discussing in a bit. All right. Other points of discussion that are very important, and these ones. All right. Players will only be allowed to participate in the qualifiers with one alt account to avoid last year's issues. Point transfers will be not accepted due to this period. So, yes, in order for not a lot hogging a lot of points is bad, especially when you're using multiple accounts to do so. So yes, one alt account is fair. It is fair use, and a lot of people should respect that. A lot of people abused that system last year, so oh, hopefully this should be rescinded by the time, and staff will allow only one alt account. But other than that, it's um, you're not gonna use two accounts to qualify in the same cycle. That's just not gonna happen. You'll be automatically infected for that. At least that's what I think. And I'm not staff anymore. I'm not making the rules. All players will have to play at least one game before the end of the tournament this season. I believe this is specifically for the round robin stages, not the actual you know, after the round robin is over. Compared to the previous season where players had to play before the fifth week, I feel like this one was a much more stricter. Um, this one was what a lot of strict implications applied. So before week 5, you must play a game. Well, people aren't. Well, some people are going to play for week 6 and 7, so you don't know that. And so we want to get them out of the way for 7 weeks, so we can have to actually play for one game before the end of the tournament. I believe this is the round robin. If not, it's probably the end itself. It is before finals. So one game, okay, fair enough. And lastly, one point remains to be decided, which is the guaranteed games allowed for the pool. There is a strong support. Number of games should be guaranteed pool from 1 to 2 to 3 or even 4. If we're going ahead, we would do it as 2 guaranteed games. For the guaranteed players to play one game in the pool, no, I think that's too few. I think 2 games is fair. I think 2 games is fair because these are players who grinded needed to be in the guaranteed pool. Why would you only play one game? That doesn't feel earned. That doesn't feel like it's respected of you trying to grind for a position in the guaranteed pool when you're only just going to play one game. I feel like that's wrong to me. So 2 is much more fair. So I agree. I do agree with 2 guaranteed games. Uh, for for the format. This format it's in, it's definitely something worth considering. So I feel like one game is perfectly fine. And it's and of course it also depends on manager discussion as well. Forcing suboptimal lineups when we want to shuffle players who are underperforming is part of the managerial job, and everything team and throwing just to meet a quote will likely screw over at least one team. I agree. I agree with that. So anything below 2 is absolutely overkill. This one, of course, I agree as well with this one. Anything above uh, three games, I think it's a bit too much. I think 2 is strikes the perfect balance. Whenever in towards the guaranteed pool and how much time they're able to devote to playing 2 games. All right. So with that format discussion out of the way, let's talk about now the manager signups. And we got a load of potential manager signups that a lot of manager signups signed up, and it's honestly crazy to think that even in this day and age, in BLT 11, the 11th edition of BLT, we're still getting a lot of manager signups. I think BLT last, I actually, which is a complete surprise, which is a complete improvement from last year, which only had what, 8, 10 manager signups. This one had like what, 15. I didn't sign up to be manager, but a lot of people did, some very unique ones. First of all, Fairy and a Weep, a Fairy being formerly known as Lady Salamence, which is very nice. Um, let's see who others. Glue, the former Rosie Bear, also tried to manage alongside Prince of All Tacos, a very experienced tours first very experienced manager duo. Well, not manager duo because they managed uh, Rosie or Glue or Prince of All Tacos have managed with different people before. This is the first time that this pairing is going to go, and they went for the Poniard Penguins, which is a funny name. And of course, a lot of listed accomplishments, which I'm going to be referring to once we get to actually player ranking individual players in a tier list, which will be the next video. So be on the lookout for that. There's also Sarah and Fiend, which are the Verbank vessels. Okay. Royal Reloaded and Jack Kozler being the Granite Cave Golettes. It's a very creative name there. Let's see. Exotic 64 in the TDNTs. I haven't seen this guy in the Exotic 64. I have not seen this guy in the tours room, at least from what I saw. But he is around OUPL, but he did manage OPUPL and have been in many team tours himself. So that is very good. That is very good experience, if I do say so myself. Fusion ABR, the Jamaican Jerk Chicken. Cursed name, but okay manager duo here. Ducky and Velvet, who really never got to never had a team name themselves. What would it be, the Daring Dondozos or something like that? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see others. Let's see others. 3D Infinchinator, definitely a convincing manager duo. Especially if you're part of Smogon. I'm not necessarily one of those people, but 3D Infinchinator, that would have been an interesting pairing to do, but I don't see them. But I didn't see them being picked simply because not a lot of tours community, not a lot of the. It's not going to be as well known to uh, as much to the casuals as much to the hardcore. The hardcore friends definitely. The hardcore Smogonites definitely know who these two people are, but none of most of the casual will be like who Gojo and Lax. Okay, hey, um, we've known Lax. I not exactly know what Gojo is, but he is the MPL champion. That's good. So, as I'm scrolling through each and every manager signups, as an experienced manager myself, not necessarily a successful manager, but as someone who has experience managing in this thing, it's difficult. It is difficult managing a team tour like this, and props to you if you've done this for so long and you've done longer than me. Props to you guys. Good job. Of course, my own co-host, Pogare2004 and Floir, who's very popular amongst the tours community, tried to sign in using the Glacidio Glaceons. Very icy nickname here. FC and Ice Master also tried. First appearance of Ice Master trying to manage in BLT. I always joked that the Absols should manage a BLT at some point because their TPP record has been stellar. They've won 4 out of the last 5 Tours Plaza premieres, and switching into BLT, I don't think it's going to be hard of a transition, and they are going to if Ice Master and the Number Man are are going to be adamant in trying out BLT, then they could easily bring their A game there and be as good as they were in TPP. So why have I been skipping some of the more recognizable ones? First of all, then there's Howkings and Mind Gaming, which are the Demon Slayer cores. All right, sorry, sorry. Of course, these are the accomplishments. You can read them for yourself if you want. but they have included SCL. They have SCL experience and has been defending. And Mind Gaming is an SCL champion. That's very good. That should bring a lot of experience into the tours pool, and definitely more of a high end level competitive brain than most. So that's very good. Why have I been skimming through most of these? Well, because the managers have already been decided, which are teams that will be competing. Lavender. Well, why did I skip through the first one? Oh, this is my dementia looking at me in the wrong way. Or not dementia. My depth perception is bad. Okay, the teams that will be competing, the official teams that will be competing for BLT 11 will be the Primal Power Pangoros, Jordy and Pokemon Says Door. We have the Lavender Laprases by Laprases by MJ and Ziri. We have the Phantom Trout, Devon and Fragments. We have Resort City Rufflets, TDR and Skimmy the God. We have the Lore Society, Balor and Taka, Flameslinger, Skeledurges, Frixel and Ninja. We have the Sunny Shore Snorlaxes, Eternal Snowman and Trace. And we have the Snowbell Stuffles in the Franklin and Plus. So, what do I think of these managers? I think this is probably the strongest manager the strongest manager selection we've had in a very very long time. I absolutely love the selection for this one, even though there are a couple of choices that I'm a little bit skeptic on. Some of them are first time newcomers. Some of them might bring a level of unease in the community, and I really am interested in seeing what that team chat is like. However, in terms of the manager pairings that we got, I feel like this is the strongest we've ever gotten. Again, in a very long time. Of course, we've got some veterans. We've got the two oldest and most experienced manager pairings we have. MJ and Ziri and Eternal Snowman have Trace have been doing this for a long time, ever since the first edition, and practically. Well, they've managed for more than 5 or 6 BLTs at this point, so they obviously know what's going on, and they're obviously the most shoe-in pick in terms of who gets immediately added to the roster. Of course, the defending champions. I don't need to explain the Resort City Rufflets. They have won 2 BLTs before, and they're hoping to defend their title as the defending BLT champions. We have the former the the Snowbell Stuffles, who were once a semifinalist, if I recall correctly. They were semifinalist in BLT 7 or 8. I'm not sure. Primal Power Kangaroos. These were last year. I believe they were last year's runner up. I have to make that clear. They were last year's runner up. We also got the 2 semifinalists from last year returning as well, the Phantom Trout and the Flameslinger Skeledurges. And we also, of course, have the newcomers to managing BLT 11, and at least the pairing names and the pairings are new. Balor and Taka and Franklin and Plaus. I hope good luck, guys. Is in managing BLT 11. It's gonna be well. I know all of you have experienced in managing before, but let's see it in BLT, and let's see what happens when you try to draft the tours community. Let's see how you handle. But I'm confident that you're gonna handle it just fine. So, that is the end of this video. So the next video on our BLT 11 coverage will be the tier list, how they rank individually. So we're not going to rank them as a team yet. I'm saving all this until after the BLT draft. Meanwhile, next video, we are going to be ranking these players individually. After the cycle has concluded, we're going to be ranking all of them into a tier list to see how they are perceived by me and probably Pokeart as well, if she wants to co-host with me. And maybe we'll bring in a special guest or hero too, just like we did last year. But we are going to be definitely doing the tier list, and we're going to be continuing our coverage with BLT 11. I'm excited. Everyone is excited. Good luck to all the participants in BLT 11, and have a happy tour day. So thank you all so much for watching. This has been McCoy signing out. Good luck to BLT.